What's up, guys? It's Aquarius season, and I was actually going to do this live on TikTok, but apparently they need to verify my age, and that takes 24 hours, and I did not know that. So I'm happy to be here with y'all, and we're going to talk about Aquarius season. I know it's the middle of the day, but let's just get straight into it because this Aquarius season is important. Of course, what's up, Priya? We are starting the season off with Pluto, right? Sun conjunct Pluto. And Sun conjunct Pluto to start Aquarius season off is a major big deal. This is how we're going to start Aquarius season for the next 20-something years. Feeling the effects of this intense pause. Okay, we're back. Right? What the next several everything is, right, of what the future truly looks like, trends and aesthetics and the collective energy and how we're shifting. And so, this weekend was also pretty big because we had Venus and Saturn conjunct in Pisces. Venus, hi Jess, I miss you, and I'm definitely gonna get back to you soon. So we had Venus and Saturn conjunct in Pisces. And over the weekend, I know I've heard some people say that this is like an amazing time for love. In a sense it is, right? But Saturn is a dry, serious sign, all about getting real with what our commitments are. And with Venus in the mix, right, being influenced by Saturn, regardless of whether you're in a long-term relationship, you're single, there's this idea of, well, what do we want to continue to attract? And are we attracting the right things, right? So the vibe of the last few days this weekend was kind of there to show you whether or not there is this sense of romance in your life, right? And it doesn't have to be with a partner. It could just be about your creativity and your dreams. But are we able to get the beautiful flowy energy that we all so want to feel? Because the reality is Saturn is reminding us that to flow with somebody, to flow in a relationship, to flow in life, to flow in your creative endeavors, it requires some sort of seriousness, right? It requires you to take serious what is in front of you, whether that be your projects or the person or yourself, right? This could be about your self-love. You have to take it serious. You have to be real. There's a realistic kind of energy with Saturn. So Saturn and Venus could have allowed some people to make marriage commitments. Somebody could have been gotten proposed to this weekend, or just solidifying relationships further. That could have definitely been a thing. Or it could be, hey, where is what are our goals in this relationship? And what are my goals in my creative life? And do I feel truly in that right now? Do I feel lit up about those things, regardless of whether they're for profit or just for yourself, right? There is an energy trying to make us reevaluate whether or not we're truly committed to the things that we say we're committed to. Because it's one thing to say, I'm committed to somebody, or I'm ready for marriage. But then when you get into the marriage, it's like, oh, I had no idea it took all of this, right? So this is a realistic moment for to show us where we're at in terms of love with ourselves, with other people, and with the things that we love in our life. So I do want you to think about that, because once again, that has been happening while the sun has been conjunct Pluto, transitioning from Capricorn to Aquarius. And first of all, happy Aquarius season, y'all, right? Happy age of Aquarius. are you really experimenting right now? Like, that's the reality. How are you experimenting? What are you experimenting with? This is a time to be like a mad scientist about yourself and your life, right? And to not be afraid to do things differently, to do things in a way that you've never done them before, right? To trust yourself above all. Because at the end of the day, Aquarius beats their own drum, right? How's the saying go? Yeah. You know the saying I'm talking about, right? You have to live by the beat of your own drum. You have to make your own song, and it can't be what everybody else is doing, because right now it's not going to be in favor of us. It's not going to bring us anything new. It's not going to bring us the change that we're looking for. It's not going to bring us the satisfaction that we're looking for. And we are today, the moon's in Libra, so we're starting this Aquarius season off with Libra energy, and it is social on one aspect, and it's also very, Jazz, you know this, you're an Aquarius with the Libra moon, and I'm a Libra with an Aquarius moon, so it's a kind of flip for me. There's a sense of isolation here coming into it, and at the same time, this realization that sometimes we need to be social to recharge our battery in some sort of way, or we just need to be around beauty. We need to be around beautiful things, and we need to have beautiful conversations, and it can truly give us a little bit of spark going into this season. Because what's funny about this season is we start with Aquarius Sun, Libra Moon, and the last day of Aquarius season is also Aquarius Sun, Libra Moon. So we go through this cycle of, the moon starting and ending in the same place. And I think that's very beautiful, because it's showing us, Libra being the sign of partnership again. And then Aquarius being the sign of, the collective, but being just by yourself, an individual, not necessarily lonely, but being yourself amongst other people that are different than you. So I think this month is going to challenge us all to do things differently, or at least just push ourselves to get out of a new comfort zone that we might have been placed in. So, going on with that, we're still going to be dealing with this Saturn conjunct Venus energy for a few days, going into the 21st. And this energy is also square Jupiter retrograde, right? So having that energy square Jupiter retrograde in Gemini, a fellow air sign, that eventually will be having some trines to, and this month Jupiter is going direct. So congratulations to all my Geminis, congratulations to all my mutable signs. You guys made it through that retrograde. It's been a little challenging. Lots of lessons learned, and now you'll start to feel again the expansion that you've been working on. Yeah, Season of Justice by authentically reflecting inner beauty, which is radical now. Exactly. And it is a radical act. It's a radical act to even be in any sort of commitments at this time, because of the way life is shifting. And one thing to realize and remember this season is that we're all different people, no matter what kind of commitments we make to each other, even in a collective sense or in a friendship setting, which, this energy does rule friendships. You can be friends with people for a very long time, and you don't have to be on the same page with everything. You don't have to agree about everything. This is about learning how to agree to disagree and still have, rational, logical conversations, and make great change. Allow ourselves to also change our mind, not being too stuck. And Pluto is definitely allowing us to do that, exactly that, not be too rigid and too stuck. And the square to Jupiter in Gemini, which is about expanding our perspective while still feeling ourselves play elimination with what's going on in our mind, right? Because it's we want to expand, but first we have to cut out all the bullshit. This is what we don't want. This is what we don't want to talk about. We have to still kind of talk about it, right? So these are the last days that we'll be feeling that. Let me give you the exact date that Jupiter is not in retrograde anymore, and that is on February 4th, right? So we have a good, like, what, 2 weeks, basically 2-3 weeks before Jupiter goes out of retrograde, and we have truly decided what we want to expand mentally, what kind of things we truly want to learn and focus on, because Gemini can be in a distracted energy, right? It's here, there, it's everywhere. And while that's great because we get to pick up lots of knowledge, eventually we go, okay, well, these are the few things that I want to cycle between. I really care about these few things. And so we've been playing the elimination game with that in order to get here. And we will still be doing that for the next few weeks. So keep that in mind, right? So also on the 21st, Mercury will trine Uranus, right? And it will oppose Mars retrograde. So with Mercury opposing Mars, this is the Cancer Capricorn energy we're talking about. Capricorn Mercury, Cancer Mars, and that Capricorn energy doing a nice trine, right, to Uranus and Taurus, which is two earth signs. So it's nice to feel that kind of stability in a sense. I think in a few days we'll have a little bit more stability around our conversations. We'll be able to, no matter how explosive it might have been with the Sun conjuncting Pluto, no matter how explosive the weekend could have been with Venus and Saturn, it's kind of like doubling down around the next few days where we're able to have more detachment, right? Aquarius is detachment, but earth signs are also very grounded, and we have that sense of like planting our words right now, having been able to think about it from a distance. And sometimes Venus and Saturn is really just going to show you over this weekend, and what we'll be like truly entering this time with, what are the correct boundaries for your life at this moment. The boundaries that you might have had 6 months ago or even like last month might not apply, and we have to respect other people's shifting in that as well. So that's what we're doing. We're really trying to get to a place where even with our own personal life, like shifting our boundaries, seeing it from a distance, and detaching ourselves from taking things too personally. That's major, right? There's nothing to take personal right now because everyone is trying to rediscover new faces and of themselves. People are trying to re-identify, and we're all getting pushed with this energy. So, no one's getting spared, really. Aquarius is, in general, this season can have an either really good time or a really anxiety-ridden time. It kind of is maybe sometimes just both. And that's because, once again, our authenticity and everybody's asked to get out the shadows. This isn't an energy where you can linger within any type of background. This is about every single person being main character. A shit ton of main character energies coming together in a room, and everyone is, in a sense, maybe in the lower vibration, competing for the spotlight. But this is about finding a delicate balance of no one needing the spotlight, because we all already have that in our own lives. It's just noticing that, like, we have room for other people to be big personalities as well. And we do have to learn how to, once again, having Mercury trine Uranus while it's opposing Mars is going to give us an opportunity to feel something that we could possibly be triggered emotionally about in the past, but change our language around it so that we're not as emotional towards other people being themselves, even if it directly opposes us. I hope that makes sense. We do need to leave room for other people to express themselves and be themselves without our judgment and without our care even. It's like hey, if you're doing you and I'm doing me, then why do I care? And at this time, if other people are triggering you, especially around this time, January 21st, because also around that time, the North Node and Neptune are conjunct. Not exactly yet, but it's conjunct, right? So this is showing us collectively how we move forward, how we continue to flow once again, and in the areas where we may be blocked, in the areas where we may be stuck. And Aquarius energy is very tell it like it is, right? And with Mercury and Capricorn, another tell it like it is sign, but just two different approaches there, where Aquarius will always look towards the future of like, yeah, this is what it is, but you know, this is where we're going and this is what we should do. There's a lot to gain from that train of thought right now. But then also Capricorn energy being, well, this is the reality. And so we have this nice perspective of being detached from being very finite, but at the same time accepting the reality and not allowing ourselves to be truly bogged down by that, but to feel inspired by that and to feel like, okay, yeah, I do have something to work on. Now, if you're somebody who doesn't like to or tries to avoid the work, this is going to be a hard time because it's so in our face. And what will happen is the Mars energy is going to hit you more than the Uranus energy of change. And the Mars energy is going to aggravate you and create drama and problems, right? So, you know, if you see somebody else in your life doing that, understand that you don't have to turn yourself off. You just have to keep yourself on, but understand that they're not threatening you, even if they are threatened by you, even if they have a problem with you, even if they are telling you like what's wrong with you and like why are you so loud and why are you so this and why are you so that. It is what it is. You have to be able to just have this even keel, like emotional tone. And I think what's happening is we're going to be learning that. So yeah, for some it's going to be harder than others, but we're definitely going to be learning how to keep that emotional tone at, an appropriate place, a respectful place. Because the reality is when we are not being respectful to others, it's usually because we feel, there's some level of projection there. There's some level of like, I don't feel good about myself and, I need to protect myself. But there's no reason to actually protect yourself in the sense, because you are being protected by something much larger. And so this is about the faith again with the North Node and Neptune being conjunct. The faith that you're being put in possibly some confusing, strenuous scenario. And the reason being is to get you to tap back into your dreams and to have confidence in yourself by yourself. And I think, once again, the way we're starting and ending this is with the Libra moon. And Libra moon is looking for compromise with other people and quite possibly just someone to go along on the journey with us. Someone to confirm what we're feeling, confirm our, our beauty and our strength. But the reality is like, you have to do that, right? You have to confirm it, and you probably have to go along the journey yourself, because only you can do what you're doing. It's really that simple. Only you can do it. And if you want to do something, even if it involves other people, you have to show up and say like, this is what I'm gonna do. This is not like, I think this is what I should do, or do you think I should do this? Do you think la la la? No, this is about having strong convictions about yourself and the way that your life is changing. The way that your life is changing, the way that it's going. And if you want something from someone, you have to ask them directly. And if they don't have it, you have to move on. There's no time to be emotionally hung up on that, right? If you need support, but the person doesn't have support for you, you can gracefully say, thank you, I'm gonna have to talk to you later. I gotta go. Right? Because like I need something right now, and I don't have anything for you, you don't have anything for me, so That's okay. We can leave each other alone until, you know, we figure it out how to do this thing for ourselves. And that's a big part of what's going to push us through this journey of Pluto and Aquarius throughout the next, you know, 2 decades, right? Is this ability to do this right here. Just respect where people are at and learn how to ask for things, but also learn how to move on quickly, how to quickly bounce back and how to quickly move on. Because if it's not there in your environment, then it's okay to move on, you know? And you don't have to exit stage left out of every relationship like it's over. It doesn't define whether the relationship or the friendship or the business partnership is over. It just means, hey, okay, I have a little bit more responsibility. Once again, okay. And that Capricorn energy does want to show us like, okay, yeah, this is how I have to invest in myself. And, you know, if other people can't do it for me, that's okay. Because I can do it for me. That was going to be easier. This is a little bit harder, but it just means that I have more resources than I realize. So January 25th, we have the moon in Sagittarius squaring everything in Pisces. So Venus, Saturn, Neptune, the North Node. That's pretty big because for those 3 days, the 25th, the 26th, and the 7th, I believe, right? When the moon's in Sagittarius, we are going to go through a little bit of a sense of challenge. Maybe a small obstacle, a small hurdle that we all need to like push through. And it could be like our lessons, everything that we've learned in our life, which is represented by that Sagittarius energy, because the moon is also going to square Jupiter retrograde. And so our perspective, our lessons, we're just finding that there's more room to grow, that there is more gaps, right? And that we can be very gung-ho about things, but if life is showing us that we still need to go backwards for a little while, we should respect that. Sagittarius is, although it's a mutable sign, it is very adaptable, it still has its eyes set on the goal, right? It still has its arrow pointed to where it wants to go. But then Jupiter retrograde is like, wait. Did you take the advice that the old man down the road like was trying to give you before you came to the forest? And then all of the Pisces energy is like, and did you listen to your instincts though? Did you listen to your gut? We know that you want what you want, but what's your intuition really telling you? And I think that's what we need to pay attention to. Because and Sagittarius is not square Jupiter retrograde in Gemini. It's opposite of it. So we have the square to everything in Pisces and the opposition, right? Sagittarius and Gemini being sister signs directly opposite of each other to the Jupiter retrograde. So definitely a possibility to become a little bit of like a shapeshifter around that time. Allow yourself to play a different role than even the role that you might have signed up for. If you see that, you know, let's say you have an event going on at that time and you came there to be the painter, the artist of the event, but then you notice like things are like burning in flames, like nobody's there to lead, and you know that everybody needs a leader in that time. Somebody needs to step up. If you feel the call, this is about feeling the call. If you feel the call in the moment to shift, then shift. But you do have to listen to yourself. So it does take a lot of, you know, sitting with yourself. Now, Mars retrograde is going to be trining everything in Pisces at that time. That's great because our emotions are still in a place where it's like, even though we want to push forward, we're like, okay, wait, let me listen to this for a second. Because it's telling me that even though I mastered that thing, and I thought I was overdoing that thing. Everybody needs me there right now, or I need to do this, and you have to listen to the call. So be very conscious and aware of that at this time. And that goes for all of North Node and Pisces, but especially when we're so focused on something and we have all this like energy to just get it done and we're motivated. Even sometimes when we're motivated, we have to remember we can be overly hustling, overly motivated, and it could come across as someone being way too pushy, someone being way too aggressive, when in reality, you know, if we were listening to ourselves, we'd realize, oh, this is not the time and the place to push that thing. Let me, once again, shift my energy. So yeah, this is a time where we're going to be going through quite the number of lessons as we're starting this North Node in Pisces, 18-month cycle. So January 28th, then Mercury is going to be leaving Capricorn. It's going to be going into Aquarius. Of course, it's going to be conjunct Pluto for a little while. And the Sun will then also trine Jupiter around the same time. So thank God for that, because with the Sun trining Jupiter, it's like, okay, there is a happy moon day. There is an ability to just kind of laugh it off, to make jokes and to stay in that lighthearted energy no matter how stressful it might seem, as our mind is now shifting in conjunction with this big transformative planet that's like, well, what are we going to do for the future, right? Like, how do we change the world? What's your purpose? What's your purpose? Like, that's what it feels like. Like, who are you? What have you learned? And are you really being yourself? Like, are you able to define that a little bit? And I think there will be pressure to do that around that time. This could be great for writing or writers, just because there's a lot of pressure that's creating that diamond, so to speak. So if you're like into writing at all, this could be a great time for you to just kind of sit down with yourself in some sort of isolation and allow yourself to channel. I think for all of us, taking a little bit of isolation around that time is probably going to do us good around the 28th. Because there's a lot of reevaluating. There's a lot of reevaluating this month. We are setting ourselves up. Hey, babe. We are setting ourselves up to allow ourselves to be put into a position where our spaceship is already programmed to go. And so since the programming is there, we don't actually have to do anything, but we're choosing the programming now. Like, Aquarius season is definitely about things like coding and programming, but this is like that mental, emotional coding and programming, right? So we're allowing ourselves to truly get an experience of you are in control in a way where you can look at it from multiple different perspectives. Once again, Sun, trine, Jupiter retrograde, looking at it from multiple perspectives. And still keeping in mind that the Jupiter retrograde for the next, until the 4th, is allowing you to say, I don't want this. So this is allowing you to cancel some of the coding, right? So to get rid of programs in the tech that is your mind and your body and your soul, and to allow you to really get rid of some outdated things, and to be real with yourself that it doesn't work anymore. Your life has shifted. And how has your life shifted, and what's required of you? It doesn't have to be hard. It just has to be a switch. You just have to actually get in there, right? And you have to truly, wholeheartedly, with your whole body and all your whole nervous system, decide this is what's best. This is what I want to do. And when you have that kind of clicking moment, because you can see all the perspectives and you know what's best for you, it's natural. It just happens like this. It's subconscious now. So we're having a conscious moment of looking into our subconscious around the 28th. Take advantage of that. Take full advantage of that. Then the new moon on the 29th. So this is right before the new moon. If anything, it kind of is the new moon energy, right? And the new moon is exactly trining Jupiter retrograde. So this is like truly tripling down, quadrupling down on that energy of reprogramming our subconscious and being able to have these days that are allowing us to slow down enough mentally and have the right conversations that are productive. And I would definitely say this is another social energy, because we have, of course, when there's a new moon, it means the sun and the moon are conjunct in the same sign, the same degree of Aquarius, and it's trining Jupiter retrograde. So this is a time to everybody's processing. Everybody's going to be processing, and you want to process with people that are not too emotionally invested in what you're talking about. So you don't want to talk to, like, if you have problems with your significant other, you don't want to have these deep conversations around that time with them. You want to go talk to your friends or their friends or strangers. This is the best time to talk to strangers. People who don't know you and are digesting in the moment what you're saying to them. All they know is the vibes that you're giving off. And sometimes when you talk to strangers, because all they see is vibes, they can accurately tell you, like, hey, it seems like you're doing fine, or it seems like you're doing bad, and they can give you a very third-party perspective. And I think this is one of those times where we can use that kind of energy to our advantage. Now, it requires some sort of opening up, obviously being a little bit vulnerable. Don't worry, it doesn't have to get that deep, like I'm saying. But you do want to just be free with the things that are on your mind around that time. You definitely want to be free with it. If you feel the resonation with someone, for example, online, and you're just like, hey, like, what you were saying was making me feel this, and I feel this, like, or this brings up this memory for me, just have the conversation. You never know where it goes. So if you have a hesitation to do that, this is a good time to practice it, because the energy will just be like easier than normal. And if this is easy for you to do, then you should have no problem. Go join some sort of group. Of course, I'll be at the Moonual with Sarah on the new moon. So if anybody wants to join and talk to us there, be sure to join. But that's the new moon energy, right? And then we're going to go on to the 30th. So the 30th, we have Venus, Neptune, and the North Node in conjunction. So we go from that energy of this, okay, Venus is here, sweetening up our dreams, sweetening up our connection to spirit, God, the other side. Funny enough, this is a year of spirituality, but we might start seeing a lot of people go back to religious scripture in a lot of ways. They might be finding themselves being much more in conversation with, for some, their higher self, for others, call that God, whatever it is for you. And it doesn't matter. I just want you to know, that's something to say, right? But it doesn't matter. If you're connected, you're connected. And so I want you to feel into your connection. You don't have to try to understand it. You don't even have to give it a name. Or you could give it a name. It really doesn't matter. Give it a name that's easy for you. And just connect. This is the time to do that and to truly listen to spirit. Once again, about that call that we were talking about, this is also with Venus in the mix, it's just a sweet energy. It's just a harmonious, really hopeful kind of feeling that when we look into the future, we're like, all is well, all is good. I can have romance. I can enjoy my life. No matter what's going on in the world, I can find and run into beautiful moments. And so I want you to feel that around the 30th. Around the 1st, the moon will be passing through Pisces. It'll be passing through the North Node, Neptune, and Venus. And so now we're going to get into, you know, feeling stimulated emotionally about these things, even maybe possibly brought to tears around this time. You know, this is about emotional intelligence as well. And I think emotional intelligence is going to carry us through the North Node in Pisces in the most fulfilling of ways. So where are you on the scale of your emotional intelligence? What does emotional intelligence mean to you? Maybe you need to do a little bit of deep dive. I'm not even going to try to attempt to explain that, because I think this is going to be everyone's journey of understanding where they're at. Well, one thing I will say is, like, they say, you know, if you like are able to like watch a movie with sad things happening and cry, then that's like a good sign of emotional intelligence. We see water signs are very easily able to do that. As a double air and fire rising, I was not always emotionally in touch. I didn't come from an emotional mother. It was until I became a mother that now, you know, the wave and the flow of the emotions, I can't help it, right? It's still not like a tsunami, but it's there. I can cry now and I cannot feel any type of way about it. And so where are you on that emotional scale, and how easy is it for you to feel something and then also kind of like brush it off? So February 4th, Venus is then going to leave Pisces, move into Aries, as Jupiter is now stationed direct, so out of its retrograde. And Venus into Aries is just another kind of protective almost element, where it's about that kind of feminine warrioress. This is probably great for women, to be honest. I think women in general during this time of Aquarius energy being stimulated, you kind of have an extra ability to make more money, to be a go-getter and to go get things that you want, be aggressive, right? To really balance the poles. And for men, tapping into that side of being a go-getter, but also having, once again, the emotional intelligence and empathy is going to help you really settle into your manifesting ability and really attract much stronger manifestations. So keep that in mind. On the 9th, we're having a Cazimi with the Sun and Mercury. And yeah, because Mercury will be in Aquarius and the Sun is going to be there. And we're definitely going to have some more moments of electric kind of thought, right? It could be more clicking in our minds and within our vision of what's to come, or what we're here to do and who we really are, right? And what the future really looks like. There might even be a lot of talk around, you know, the next wave of things. So don't necessarily get caught up in all of everybody's projections of what the future looks like. This truly is a time where you get to create it for yourself. But you do, once again, this goes back to that mad scientist energy. Like I said, be a mad scientist about your life, be a mad scientist about yourself, and experiment. Don't be afraid to change your mind. Don't be afraid to show up differently tomorrow. Don't be afraid to put on a new, you know, outfit that is that channels a different energy from you, so to speak. And the moon does conjunct Mars retrograde at that time in Cancer, and we will feel still that either some emotional weight or emotional triggers. It's as simple as that, right? We may still feel those emotional triggers because there's like who we are, and then a lot of us don't necessarily feel accepted, or at least there's, for example, you can't show up to work necessarily as who you want to be because you won't be accepted there. You might get fired, right? So if this is about finding those safe spaces, not throwing it all on the line, but questioning your reality and saying, well, if this is who I am, then where can I show up to work that makes sense of me being this person? Or maybe you do fit in very well with your role, your job, your career. Maybe you're realizing that you fit in very well, and the reality is, you could have been trying to be somebody else, but you're not, right? This is like an acceptance of these types of things, and yet again, an experimentation. So either side of the coin, you got to understand for yourself, what is it that you need more of? Do you need more experimenting energy or more settling in and accepting energy? And then the 10th, we have the moon opposite of Pluto. The moon in Leo, opposite of Pluto. I mean, we've been feeling this for a little while now, a few times, at least once a month. And it could just bring up like an energy that shows us. Oh, wait, okay. It could just show us like, hey, this is where your ego is getting in the way. This is where the dramatics are too dramatic. And, this is where we need to calm it down. This is where we're blowing things out of proportion. That's that kind of energy. Anytime we go through a moon across from Pluto energy within the next 20 years, which is a lot of times, we're going to have some sort of, break to our ego, so to speak. And a building at the same time, a break and a rising. So it's a good thing. Embrace those moments. The 14th we have now Mercury going into Pisces, if I have that correct. Right, and with that energy, it's going to change a lot of the flow of our conversations. It might be a little bit spacier. We might be a little bit more checked out during the day. We might not want to talk about anything at all. The talking to spirit, like I was mentioning earlier, will be even stronger. So as we head into Pisces season, right, the end of around the 14th, when the moon's also going to be opposite of Saturn. The moon's going to be in Virgo, and it's going to be opposite of everything in Pisces. We are going to have, anytime we experience Virgo energy during these next 18 months, it could be one of two things. It could be that you need to pay more attention to the details, because the details are providing you the necessary comfort for you to continue to go with the flow. Or it could mean that you need to let go of some of the details, right? It could mean that you're too hung up on them. It's either you're paying attention too much, or you're not paying attention at all. You should always work with the South Node energy, but you should work with the South Node energy, whether this be in your personal chart or the collective South Node that we're experiencing. You should be able to use that to your advantage, so that you can put that energy towards your North Node, not to stay there. So keep that in mind. And then once again, we're ending Aquarius season on the 17th to the 18th with the moon in Libra again. And I think we'll have a different perspective as we're ending this season, with as simple as who we want to be around, who we want to talk to, whether or not we want to be alone, whether we want to be in partnership, how do we want to show up in partnership, are we really accepted for who we are, how can we work on accepting others for who they are, how can we continue to show up authentically and not let other people shut us down even if they have judgments. We will have gained a little bit more stronger boundaries by then. And yeah, foreshadowing a lot of shape-shifting energy. Yeah, absolutely. Because even though this is a fixed energy we're dealing with in Aquarius, we're dealing with so much mutable energy during the month and since Pluto is in Aquarius, it's kind of like we're not allowed to stay fixed, right? Like Pluto is already breaking down that image. And yeah, and then in Pisces season, I'm sure as we look into those transits, how much more mutable energy we deal with. But to be honest, Pisces season as a mutable season might be more cardinal, just looking at the fact that the Venus has shifted into Aries by then, and kind of seeing where the other planets lie. But we will see as we get there. I don't want to jump ahead of myself. But there is a lot of shifting. There is a lot of like the way we're approaching things today. On the 17th and the 18th, we're going to have a brand new experimental approach. And it's okay. It's okay if things switch up. It's okay if things switch up frequently. We actually want to embrace that. And we want Pluto to truly destroy the things in our life that are not really going to serve us in the future, right? So let Pluto do that without any hesitation or without resisting it too much. Allow yourself to change. Allow yourself to reintroduce yourself to everybody you know. Eminem is, because I'm thinking about his song, right? Eminem is a Libra, Sun, Aquarius moon as well. And so, it's kind of like that, like, I am whoever you say I am type energy, but then it's also being like, it just doesn't matter because I know who I am and I'm going to continue to be whatever I want to be in this moment. And whether you get it, it doesn't matter. You either get it or you don't. And if you get it, cool. We probably have something to talk about. We probably have something to collab on. And if you don't get it, well, then I'll see you in the next lifetime or maybe 2 months from now. Who knows? We'll meet up another time. No hard feelings. Let's just call it what it is. But that is the energy of the month. And I hope you guys enjoyed it or got something out of this. And we will definitely talk soon. Working on my website to get it up again, because I'm getting rid of my Squarespace website just to make things simpler and just moving forward, because I myself am in a shifting, rebranding era, and so who knows what's gonna come. But hence the bangs. But anyway, thanks guys for joining with me today, and I hope to talk to everybody soon. And just DM me if anything comes up. I'll be around. Peace, y'all.